Welcome to the TDK Ventures podcast with Antonia Soler-Blasco of Hilti Ventures. She is a director and is based at the Hilti office in San Francisco. In this podcast, we will be exploring the best practices in corporate venture capital to enable the startup companies the CVC invests in to succeed, scale, and capture the market, along with the parent corporate and its ecosystem. Welcome, Antonia, and thank you for being on the podcast. We met a few months ago at a Stanford course, and I've been very interested to know that a construction tech can have so much of a commonality with deep tech. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be at Hilti Venture.
Thank you, Geetha, for inviting me, and I'm so happy we got to meet at Stanford a few months ago. So I'm originally from Barcelona, where I studied engineering. So I studied chemical and mining engineering for my undergrad and industrial engineering for my master's. And as part of my studies, I had the opportunity to do an internship at Hilti, and that was already more than 10 years ago. So I moved to Liechtenstein, where we have our global headquarters, then moved to the US, to the North American headquarters in Dallas in 2016, where we were building a team to develop products for the US market. And then I had the role of product manager. And in 2019, I moved to the Bay Area to manage the sales team for the mechanical customers. I had the opportunity to see how much innovation there was happening in the Bay Area, also everything that our customers were doing in the job site. And I was very excited in 2021 to join the venture team and work closer to innovation and to startups.
That's a long journey with Hilti, starting as an intern and a very varied journey in multiple different areas of the parent organization and now into the CVC. It'll be good to provide some context to our viewers about Hilti and Hilti Venture. What is the focus of the parent conglomerate? Where are your offices located?
Absolutely. So Hilti is a manufacturer and software provider for the construction industry. Was founded in 1941, and our head office is in Schaan, Liechtenstein. And still today, it's a family-owned company. We have over 31,000 employees globally and 6 billion Swiss francs on sales. One of the things that makes us very unique is our direct sales model with 250,000 contacts and more than 1 million buying customers per year. We also spend or invest 6.7% of sales on research and development, where I think it also connects very much with all the activities that we are doing from the venture side, right? Because we do work a lot in innovation internally at Hilti, but also we work on outside innovation. So in 2018, we decided to set up the venture team, and we started with 3 main offices: Europe, Israel, and San Francisco. And then a couple of years ago, we identified that there was an opportunity also to have an office in Boston.
That is really interesting that you are spanning multiple continents with your CVC. You have been with Hilti in multiple roles: product management, supply chain, sales, before moving to the current position in Hilti Venture for investing. How have these enabled you to understand the core competency and future needs of Hilti, and how do they help you in your current role?
They have helped me a lot. There are so many things that I can relate back to my time at the global headquarters and how we are working with the business units and the different roles within the business unit and the bigger strategic aspect of working on the corporate. I can also relate a lot to many of the things that our customers are doing in the field. What are their needs? What are the pain points? What are the things that they really worry about, right? So I really see how all the different roles that I had previously at Hilti really helped me on terms of understanding the internal needs, but also understanding what might work in the field. And I say what may work because also when we think about construction and construction tech, right, it's a very unique industry, and it really takes time to understand how the industry works to really see what are some of the new solutions that can have success in the market. Because sometimes it's not only about the technology itself, but it's also a lot about technology adoption and what might be some of the barriers and how you get people in the field to really be excited about using the solutions, but also the decision makers to see the value of those solutions that the startups are providing.
That's a very true point. And I can also draw parallels with TDK Ventures and TDK, because TDK also happens to be a very old conglomerate, and there are lots of areas of commonality in our investment focus streams with Hilti, which you wouldn't think at first glance, since we are in the components and energies space and you are in the construction business space. I find it really interesting that actually it is not so different. And as far as deep tech is concerned, there are so many commonalities. Could you walk us through the investment focus areas of Hilti Ventures?
Absolutely. So Hilti Ventures invest in the built environment and more specifically in construction tech. We have defined 6 focus areas that you can also find them in our webpage if you are interested to explore more. The focus areas are digital to field to digital, modularization and prefabrication, and also including new construction and design methods, job site robotics, contractor productivity software, sustainability and new materials, and smart tools and materials.
And in these swim lanes, do you specialize in any particular areas?
So we have done a lot of work on the robotics and contractor productivity software space already. But then in all of them, we really try to stay close to the activities in our business units and then activities in the startup ecosystem.
Does your CVC, when you look to invest, when you have identified a potentially interesting startup, look for both strategic and financial returns? Is it one or the other, or is it both?
Mainly for strategic returns, but we also recognize the importance of investing in companies with the potential to be successful. And also, before I continue sharing more about Hilti Venture, I also would like to make a stop and talk a little bit about the construction tech ecosystem overall, because I think that it might be new for some of our listeners. The first early stage funds focusing in construction tech started around 2015, 2017. Brick and mortar and building ventures were at the beginning of it. Also, CVCs like Cemex Ventures have had an important role in shaping construction tech. And Hilti Venture was founded in 2018. Today, there are many more funds focusing in construction tech, such as Sequoia Ventures, Suffolk Technologies, and Overlay Capital Build, and a few others that incorporate construction as part of their thesis, like Iron Spring Ventures, Blackhorn Ventures, Fifth Wall, and Herland VC. Additionally, we have seen an increasing interest from more later stage generalist funds investing in construction tech. We have also seen some very interesting exits in the last few years. Procore IPO, acquisitions of PlanGrid and Building Connected by Autodesk, Level Set by Procore, and Fieldwire and 4PS by Hilti. Venture investing in the built environment is a growing trend. To give you some numbers, an estimated 50 billion was invested in AEC tech between 2020 and 2022, what is 80% higher than the previous 3 years.
It's good to know that there is an increasing ecosystem building around the construction tech, because construction tech traditionally used to be very energy intensive. And with the availability of the current sustainability efforts, and with the kind of sensors that we have, and with more energy safe production techniques, I'm sure that we can make a lot of improvement. And it's good to know that there is an ecosystem for you in the investment space, because that would really help your companies go to the next stages, because you can build on the syndicates.
Absolutely.
So what is the typical ticket size, investment stage? And our synergies, you said you're primarily focused on synergies, but you do want companies to be successful. So how deep do synergies need to be before you invest?
So we invest from pre-seed all the way to Series B or even C. So as you can imagine, the check sizes will vary a lot, but we always follow. We have two differentiated strategies. So for early stage investments, so pre-seed and small ticket sizes, we have defined the early stage framework so that we can have an accelerated decision-making process and due diligence. We know that the startups are very early, so we want to be there to support them, but we don't have predefined expectations in terms of the partnership. So it will be decided in a case by case. All the deals still need to be strategically relevant. We need to have some initial ideas on potential future collaborations, and always need to have an executive VP business unit head sponsoring the deal.
Yeah.
Now, for later stage investments, the ticket sizes will be bigger, and we need to have a more defined collaboration as we make the investment.
I see. That is very interesting, and I understand the focus of Hilti prioritizing synergies over an investment focus. So what is the role of the business units from the corporate in engaging with the portfolios? Do you enable pilots? Who pays for them? Is it considered part of the investment, or are these paid pilots separate contracts that your BUs take over?
So we don't have a one-size-fits-all approach. We have done many POCs with the startups. We have also done joint development agreements. So it will depend on the needs of the startup, the stage, and the strategic fit to Hilti. We normally do paid pilots. And also, as you are asking on how we engage with the business units, right? So when I think about our whole investment workflow, we very much work with the business unit at the beginning on the scope definition, right? Where we define what are the areas of interest. And also, then it becomes very clear who will be the person in the business unit who will be working closely to the venture team to identify all these potential collaborations and investment opportunities. Then we work together with this person on sourcing and selecting. And then when we come closer to the investment due diligence and decision making, we again work very close to the leaders, to the senior leaders of the business unit to confirm that's the startup that we are going to be working with, collaborating, that we have also the resources available in the business unit to support the collaboration and also to execute the investment.
So a lot of resources are put by you pre-investment to enable an understanding of what the needs might be post-investment and to smooth the process after the investment goes through. That's an excellent approach. So when you have your portfolios and they have gone through multiple follow-on rounds and there comes a time for an exit, do you look at M&As? Does Hilti, the parent corporation, have an M&A group, and is that separate from the CVC group?
So Hilti has an M&A group that is separate from the CVC, but we work very closely together. We work closely together already in the due diligence process, but then also some of the investments we make may become potential acquisition targets for the M&A team.
So in many of the CVCs that I have spoken to have mentioned that they invest in only a few of the startups that they see, but there may be a broad spectrum of startups that actually are of interest to the parent, although they may not invest in them for various reasons. And this is true for TDK Ventures too. So do you also enable such collaborations between those startups that are not your portfolios, but they may be really of interest to the parent corporation?
Absolutely. So our role combines both, right? We have a mandate around investing and also a mandate around enabling collaborations for the mothership. So absolutely, we have also worked on POCs and other collaborations with the different business units.
What, in your opinion, is a successful engagement with the mothership? And how do you track the progress of engagements over time? And do you need to track the progress of engagements over time?
So we invest for strategic benefits. And some of these strategic benefits may include an acquisition, a new product offering, an increase in revenue due to an added feature to our product, and so many more. So for example, we invested in FieldWire in 2017 and acquired in 2021. Being investors,
what does this company do?
FieldWire is a software company that enables solutions for the job site. So being investors help Hilti's leadership and FieldWire founders to learn about the company's culture and assess the fit. So the acquisition happened 2 years ago, and the two teams have been working very successfully in the integration. So this is an example of a successful engagement for us.
And what value do these partnerships bring to the portfolio? Do they reduce risk and help the startup to scale? For example, connecting the startups to the deep expertise, the branding, and the market reach of Hilti may be really valuable to the portfolio companies that are small and may not have the ability to scale on their own.
So we are striving for partnerships that are more than the sum of their parts, right? So for us, a venture, it's a journey in which we embark together. One of the examples is that we work very closely with our customers. So Hilti has a direct sales force, and about 2/3 of our team members work directly with our customers every day.
That actually brought me to the next question. Do you enable partnership with Hilti's customers and channel partners, and how does that benefit the portfolios?
Absolutely. We have some examples where we have brought a joint solution with a startup to solve a customer pain point. And we have made several introductions to our customers, as well as connecting like the startup founders to some of our leaders in sales who can also help them understand how we have achieved certain goals, right? In the software space, but also in the direct relationship with customers.
How does your experience in product and sales help you identify promising technologies and enable you to help your founders with go-to-market strategies?
They help me a lot. So something that it's very unique to the construction industry when you are thinking about the sales strategy and the go-to-market, it's that it's very important to understand that there are the decision makers who are thinking about the ROI, but then there are also the users in the field who are using these solutions, who also need to buy in order for your startup to be successful. So I think that's two very important things to understand. So whenever I think about some of the advice that I share with the founders, so please let me share it here as well. So the first one is that founders should really work and invest time in refining their ideas and communicating the idea, right? So customer input is key to the continued development of their product. And I think that they need to make sure to have a group of customers with whom they engage very often and find ways to make them part of their product development process. I think that will really help them improve their offering and build a loyal customer base at the same time. The next thing is to make sure that they are communicating well with the industry. That means being very clear about what their product is and what benefits it offers. Whether they are marketing digitally or meeting face-to-face at trade shows, clarity is key for getting potential customers to seriously consider an innovative product. And last but not least, as they build their sales and customer success teams, they need to bring in people from the industry who understand workflows, player maps, and applications. Also bring in people who will be needed for the long term and who want to help them grow the company and grow with it. I would like to here highlight Franco Giacinto, CEO and founder of ProPlanner, now Outbuilt, that's their new name, who has done a fantastic job doing this and that the results show the good work.
What best practices or golden nuggets would you like to share with the CVC community, especially as a deep tech CVC practitioner? What can you share as a woman in a deep tech CVC that can inspire others that are considering this path?
Absolutely. It has been a very interesting and rewarding path. I feel blessed to be so close to innovation, latest technology developments, and working with amazing, smart, and hardworking founders who want to develop solutions that will make the construction industry better. My two pieces of advice are stay humble and keep always asking questions and learning, and be proactive, take on new opportunities, and be the change you want to see. Additionally, a couple of years ago, I founded the community of women in construction tech together with Julieta Moraday, managing partner at Overlay Capital Build. As you know, there are not many women in our ecosystem, and we would like to see many more joining our industry and thriving. So my message to women in our industry is to join networks like Women in Construction Tech, Women in BC, and many others that help to learn, network, and build lifelong friendships and connections.
Absolutely. Just like we met in one session.
Absolutely.
Yes. So for founders listening in, is there anything that they can do to attract more women into the deep tech startup ecosystem?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I see two parts here, talent attraction and talent retention. I think it's important to hire a management team and have advisors that represent the diversity that you want to see at your company. We all attract people similar to us. We all look for role models. And unfortunately, we all have biases that we need to be aware of. So the more diverse your initial team and hiring team are, the more chances you have to build a diverse company. Not that should be surprising, but it's going to be very hard to hire and retain women if they don't see women thriving at your company. Here, I would like to add a sentence from a good friend. A workplace that works for women, it's a workplace that works for all. In other words, is your workplace one where women have to work hard to navigate a space that isn't particularly open to them? Or is your workplace one that welcomes women and is truly excited about what they bring to the table? Ditto for other demographics or backgrounds that are in the minority. I think a diverse workplace is one that can produce the diversity of ideas needed to solve complex problems. When we can all bring our own selves to work, we deliver better results. And guess what? We all enjoy working together a whole lot more too.
Very, very true. Very well put. And since Hilti is in the context space, we can't finish this podcast without talking about sustainability. Antonia, can you share with the audience the importance of technology in creating a sustainably built world?
So the built environment generates 40% of annual global CO2 emissions. Of those total emissions, building operations are responsible for 27% annually, while building and infrastructure materials and construction, typically referred to as embodied carbon, are responsible for an additional 13% annually. So greener construction would mean a much greener economy, and there are many solutions that are targeting a more sustainable built environment. Ecomidis is a good example of a startup that is focused on sustainability. They help architects, engineers, and contractors choose more sustainable materials. We also see several startups working on circular business models and modular construction to reduce waste and expand the life of all the different parts of the building. Society, big corporations, governments, and developers have increasing quality standards and expectations when it comes to sustainability in the built environment. So I think the future is bright for startups focusing on making construction more green.
So what do we expect in 2024 and in the upcoming future?
One of the biggest challenges for the construction industry is the labor shortage. Companies are really struggling to find talent. In the contact wall, I think we will see more startups working on automatizing repetitive and unsafe activities, and venture capital being more than ready to support their growth. I'm very excited about the startups like Race Robotics, Field AI, Canvas, Dusty Robotics, and Rugged Robotics working on construction robotics for the job site. Additionally, there are very promising companies like Trunk Tools working on solutions to drive worker productivity, and companies like Agorus working on offsite construction. All of them will contribute towards driving efficiency and tackling the labor shortage problem in the construction industry.
Absolutely. Thank you, Antonia, for a very enlightening discussion about Hilti and Hilti Ventures and your journey through contact and making the world a more sustainable, productive, and efficient space. Appreciate your time.
Thanks to you, Geetha, and also thanks for this podcast. It has always been a source of inspiration, and I have learned a lot from all the interviews that you and the team at TDK Ventures have done.